Welcome to the Elite Life with Trisha and Kylie. This is where we'll teach you how to develop grit, give yourself grace, and succeed in real estate. So let's dive in.
Welcome to another episode of the Elite Life Podcast with Kylie and Trish.
What's
I'm Trish.
up? Hey, I'm Kylie. I just like to talk over her because I spent most of my life listening to her talk over me, and that's what happens in our family if you want to get heard.
You gotta be loud.
All right, quick and dirty today. We're going to talk about three simple keys to success, and we talked about this in our 411 meeting, which if you don't know what it is, shoot me an email, kylee@mystarsacademy.com. I'll get you an invite. You could sit in, see what goes on. It's super amazing. Accountability, fire, coaching for entrepreneurs, real estate people, all that stuff. All right.
Yeah, and I love it because when you break it down to just three things.
Literally three.
Three. So let's go through these three.
Okay, so everybody has all of these three things, and what we said in the 411 is that most people are excelling in one or two, but really lacking in that third one, and all of these, because they work together, that's a make or break. You gotta be on point with all of them, and I am raising my hand for you people who cannot see me. I am numero uno for being absolutely terrible with one of these, probably more. So...
Well, we each have at least one, right? Like even if you're a high performer, there's going to be moments in time where you're lacking in one of these three things.
Yeah.
That's just how life works. Because we're humans, we're not perfect.
Right. But it comes down to leaning on either pouring into that one that you're lacking, yes, or leaning on the other two to gain ground in the one that you're lacking.
Yeah. So today's episode is about self-awareness and being aware of which one you're lacking in, or if you're lacking in all three, like, hey, if I strengthen these three simple things in my life, I'm going to be winning. I'm going to be ahead in life. And that's really a big reason why people succeed, is because they're strong enough to say, how can I do better? How can I be better?
Yeah.
And it's usually one of these three things.
Yeah. I say all the time, people are capable of change, but most people don't change. And that's what separates the average from the excellent.
Yep.
So, all right, jumping in. Key number one. What do we call it? Scheduling, organization, time management, whatever you want to call it. Understanding how to schedule time, control your time. I know you, Trish, live and die by your Google Calendar, which is color-coded and looks like a circus vomited on it, but it works for you guys. Finding some way to structure your day, because I will tell you 150%, the days that I ignore my Google Calendar or I don't sit down the night before and look at Ryan and say, let's talk about tomorrow. Like, then he makes this face like, all right, because he knows I'm about to be like, and just like rapid fire all of these things that need to be done. But if you are able to sit down, schedule what needs to be done, pick if you're feeling overwhelmed, pick 5 things. I pick 5 to 6 things every day, and usually I'll split them between Stars Academy, my real estate business, and my family / myself. So that really makes it a lot easier and less overwhelming. So time management, controlling time, that is key number 1 to success.
Absolutely. And this is one of the places where I thrive. Like you said, my Google Calendar does look like Rainbow Bright threw up on it. But I also 100% of the time get the comments of, I don't know how you do so many things. And it's not because I have a superpower. My superpower is staying super organized on my Google Calendar and maximizing every minute of my day, delegating appropriately. So my Google Calendar, and anybody who needs help with this, please feel free to reach out. I will do a coaching call with you and teach you how to structure a Google Calendar, follow it each and every day, and do it with your family. Because if you look at my calendar, it has yellow for Trent, orange for Dave, red for things I cannot move, blue things can move, pink is Angelina, and we don't miss anything. And when you don't miss anything, that means you are no longer living your life in chaos, because people who are like, oh, I forgot, like that's affecting every aspect of your life, because you're feeling failure, you're feeling like you forget things, you're feeling disorganized, stress, chaos. My life never feels like that because I live and die by my Google Calendar. I look at that calendar 20 to 30 times a day. Everything gets done on it. The day is not over until it's done. And there's many.
So wild. She's banging on her microphone over here.
It's because I'm very passionate about my Google Calendar.
My Google Calendar. No,
but it's my key to success. It really is.
And another token to add to that is coming to a place where like I time block. So I say, okay, from 9 to 12, I'm going to work on stars stuff. And stars is a project that never ends. Like I'm always developing, I'm always thinking, I'm always writing, I'm always, putting something together. If I don't stop at the end of that time block, it's like kadoosh, kadoosh, kadoosh. It's a domino effect. My whole day gets off. So even if you're working on a project, you say, okay, from 9 to 12, I'm going to work on this project and then I'm going to move on to something else, or I'm going to take a break, like stick to that. And if it is something that's a deadline, then you absolutely have to look at that calendar and say, what else can I move to another day or another time so that I can continue to work on this project? But you have to be able to say, you know what? That was my time frame. I'm done. And that's that. And, if you're a procrastinator like me, you have to accept the consequences of not finishing your project on time. But again, if you're using some type of use something, get a notebook, get a planner. I mean, I'm a person where for 6 to 8 weeks, I'll use my 10X planner. And I'm like, F this thing. It sucks. And then I'll start using my Google Calendar religiously for 2 months. And then I'll get a notebook. And then I'll get a piece of paper. And then I'll use a chalkboard. Either way, there's always something to where I can sit down at the end of every day and say, what's going on tomorrow?
But that brings us to the next one, which is consistency.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Consistency. And I consistently use my Google Calendar, so I'm never busy. I am always productive. And that's not saying that I am better in any way, shape, or form. But when you are consistent, that compounds your success, right?
Yeah. And it's not just this calendar stuff we're talking about. When you show up consistently for your kids, for yourself, for your business, for your friends, all of life is so much better and easier. When I consistently, we were just talking about this, when I consistently work out in the morning, I have a better attitude. My body is happier. It kickstarts my metabolism. I'm actually ready to eat at appropriate times. When I consistently show up in my business, I'm making more money. I'm talking to more people. I'm making more connections, which again makes more money. And you don't look like a joker when it's been 3 weeks since you talked to this lead and you call them and you're like, hey, Karen, this is Kylie. Remember talking to me a couple of weeks ago about your, finding you a new home? And Karen's like, yeah, B, I haven't heard from you, so I found somebody else. That moment sucks. I hate that moment.
But everything in life, like you just said, everything in life needs consistency. So often in life, people are like, this doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't work. It's that you weren't consistent with it. And I mean everything. You have to consistently brush your teeth to not get cavities.
That's a lie.
You have to consistently go to the gym to stay in shape. You have to consistently eat good to stay in shape and be healthy. If you only eat good for 6 months and then you eat like garbage for 6 months, well, that first 6 months doesn't count anymore.
It's a wash.
Right. Calls. You have to consistently keep calling. Chiropractor. People are like, oh, chiropractor, you have to keep going. Yes, you have to keep going to everything.
Yeah.
Your spouse. You have to keep showing up for your spouse. If you don't go on date night, you guys are going to slowly separate and have space and not know what's going on in each other's lives. Like, it's with everything. Your kids. If you're not giving your kids consistent attention, they're going to go into their bedrooms and stay in there for weeks, and you're not going to know what's going on in their lives, and they're going to find consistency elsewhere.
They are going to start acting like buttholes to get your attention. Let me tell you 100% that is precisely what happens.
But it's just crucial because even like church, if you don't consistently go every week and that's a part of your life, you're going to start to feel further and further and further away from your faith. Every single thing in life, if you are not consistent with it, it will fade or get worse or whatever. So literally, it's not that something doesn't work. It's that you are not being consistent with it, no matter what it is. Everything in life needs consistency, from the basics like brushing your hair and your teeth to the extremes of making your prospecting calls or showing up for your people or whatever it is. Everything.
And it doesn't have to, like, as I'm listening to you, like the Kylie part of my brain is like, God, that sounds so overwhelming. This just has to be, it doesn't have to be this big thing. Like, you already consistently do a lot of things. You wake up every day consistently, God willing. You eat food every day. You breathe air every day. Like, I feel like we live in this place where, like, we get so lost in the chaos of all the BS of life that we easily get overwhelmed by little things, like concepts that are so simple. Like, this is the simplest form of easy living and being successful that you could possibly get, is just these 3 things.
Well, and the thing is if you are consistent, then they're not something you have to do. They're just part of your habit.
Just a habit.
So if I consistently work out every day at 10 a.m., it's not something I have to do. It's just every day at 10 a.m.
And your body's ready.
Yeah.
And when you don't, you feel like doo-doo.
Well, it's like Andy was saying, people that go to his gym, right? They come and they do jujitsu and then they're like, oh, I'm so sore. I need 2 rest days. And then they come back 2 days later and they're so sore because they didn't do it again, right? And that's what happens. You're so sore because you're not doing it every single day. Or your relationship's so screwed up because you let it lag for so long. And then you sit and you wonder, like, why don't me and my spouse talk anymore? Why does my kid hate me? Because you ignored them for so long that's going to take some time to rebuild. It's the same with anything. Your business. Why is my business so slow? Why don't I have anybody? Well, because you went on vacation for 2 weeks, because you got a big check. This happens all the time in real estate. Oh, you went and closed 4 deals and now I don't see you for 2 months. And then you wonder why you don't have any money to buy Christmas presents. Consistency compounds, and if you let that consistency become a habit, it's easy. Now these are habits. They're not something you have to do. They're just habits. But if you're constantly up and down and in and out and up and down, then it's hard.
Yeah.
Because it's something you have to do and you have to think about. So again, that's that circle, right? The time management. If in my day I have allotted all of these things that I need to do, and then they become habits, and then this is just how my day goes.
It's just your life
and
now.
This is structured. This is why you see top performers, we made that comment, like, a lot of people are like, oh, my kid's this, my kid's that. And we're like, well, Jeff Bezos has kids, Bill Gates, like all of these like super famous big people have kids too. And they're still getting this stuff done.
So what happens is I show up to our 411 meeting and I get my ass handed to me because everybody's like, well, why didn't you do all the things that you said you were going to do? And I'm like, oh, my kids are a pain in my ass and they want all my time. And Trisha's like, well, I have kids and Ed Milet has kids and,
everybody in the office has kids.
Everybody in the office has kids from ages brand new. Tom just has a new baby.
TJ has 5 kids. Rachel has 5 kids.
Rachel has 6
kids. 6 kids. Yeah. So
she'll nail you on that too.
I know. I went to say 6 kids and I reverted back to 5.
So your kids are not your excuse, and nothing is an excuse because, again, it doesn't have to be super overwhelming. Pick 5 to 6 things that you can do consistently in your business and in your personal life that are going to move you forward. Okay, consistency's over. All right.
Last one is discipline, and this ties it all together, right?
This is where I number 1 fail because I am 100% great with scheduling. I literally love it. I love sitting down and planning what I'm going to do. I get such a kick out of it.
Planning and just start taking action.
Right. And then, so number 2 for me is consistency. Like, I can come out of the gate Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, super great, or firing on all cylinders. And then either something happens or I don't wake up on time or this or that. And then my discipline, I have 0 discipline. And
I feel like discipline is where a lot of people fail.
It's probably where 80% of people are failing.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
that happens to me too, because I feel like, man, I'm so good at time management. I'm so consistent. I've done all these things. You know what? I deserve to not do this today. But no, you deserve to keep doing what you're doing so you keep succeeding and leveling up, right? Yeah. That's what you deserve. We let ourselves off the hook and tell us we deserve this cake or we deserve this day off or we deserve this other bad thing because we all have this internal ceiling we put on ourselves. So if I think, Ed Milet talks about this a lot, he calls it like the internal temperature gauge.
Yeah.
So if your internal temperature gauge says 90% is my top, right? 90% is my top. then every time you start getting towards that 90%, you're like, oh, well, this is my top, so I better ease off. And I mean, I do this. I think most people, this is where you fall apart, is at that discipline, because you can be consistent, you can do all these things, and then you tell yourself you deserve something, and it's going to take you backwards.
Right.
And it's not a treat, it's self-sabotage.
Right. And that's, again, we're coming back to perspective. We've been spitting that word out in every episode, but it's like Andy from The Office, he's always like, well, when you're making your choices, you know, he had to train himself mentally when he was going through a huge life change. And I totally admire him for this, and you as well. And anybody who has actually knuckled down and made a huge difference in their life, it's all about perspective. Do you deserve that cupcake, or do you deserve to be healthy? Do you deserve that day off, or do you deserve a $10,000 paycheck? What do you actually deserve? And again, it's self-sabotage, it's perspective, because you have to look at it. Oh, this is crazy. Do I deserve a headband? Yes. You have to look at it that way, because if you're constantly telling yourself you deserve all of these things, and Andy's like, are those getting you closer to your goals and your targets, or further away? Because everyone deserves to be successful. Everyone deserves to be happy. Everybody deserves all of the good things that life and God have to offer for us. But when you're mentally telling yourself that the things you deserve are actually bad, it's kind of a mind warp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's that thinking about how will I feel about this? Jesse Itzler always says, think about tomorrow. Will I be happier about this choice or this choice? So it's 10 p.m. Tomorrow, will I be happier that I went to bed, or will I be happier that I drank a bottle of wine? Probably that I went to bed and I wake up the next day feeling great, instead of drinking that bottle of wine, staying up later, feeling like crap the other day.
Well, see, that's your problem. You're drinking wine. You're not drinking whiskey.
So think about tomorrow. Think about, will tomorrow's you be happier about a piece of cake or about a 1 mile jog? What are you going to feel more proud of? What are you going to feel more proud of and more happy about?
And it's different for everybody, because I come to a place like where I'm working at night, and I'm like, man, I could keep working if I didn't wake up tomorrow and I went to heaven, because that's where I'm going, everybody. I don't care what you say. If I don't wake up tomorrow, am I going to be happier that I spent that last hour of my day doing these things like for work or being on social media or watching TV? Or am I going to be happier that I was cuddling with my husband, or I crawled in bed with my kids, or, and again, it's all your priorities. It's different for everybody, but totally 100%. Discipline is probably the hardest one. It's the hardest one to mentally do, because it requires mental work.
Yeah, but you have to give up a momentary moment of happiness or release or whatever it is for your big picture want. If my big picture want is to be able to say yes to anything my kids want, need, and desire, instead of having to say, no, we don't have the money for that. No, we can't. I have to work. No, we don't have the money for that. No, we don't have the money for that. If I want to be able to say, yeah, let's order some new hockey sticks. Yeah, let's go to Jamaica. Yeah, let's do this. Well, then I need to say yeah to working late. I need to say yeah to working on Saturday and Sunday. I need to say yeah to when I wake up at 4 a.m. instead of laying there and going back to sleep, getting out of bed and going and doing stuff, right? So thinking about that big picture perspective instead of this momentary gratification, your 1 hour gratification is not worth your lifelong happiness. And that's what people lose sight of. And that's why discipline falters, because we're thinking about our moment of gratification instead of our big picture life change that we can make by delaying just a few of those gratifications.
Yeah, absolutely. Good preaching sesh today. We're giving the gospel out. So I hope you all can take this and just understand you're not alone. If you want to talk about it, let's set up a therapy session. Give me an email, kylee@mystarsacademy.com. If you're struggling in one or any of these areas, I mean, like, you're not alone. And, just because I struggle, just because Trish struggles, doesn't mean that you can't get help. And that's where a community of accountability accountability and partners and people who actually care about you. People who are going to tell you to put the cupcake down instead of, oh, you deserve that. Or, oh, you look, you're fine. You're not like, no, if you're for example, this is me, if you're unhealthy and you are overweight and your body is shutting down because you're not treating it right, the people who love you most are going to hold you accountable to not eating that cupcake at 10:30 at night, to making sure you go to bed, to making sure you got to the gym. And if you need some of that because you all alone on an island, holla.
Yeah, and I love that you said that you're not alone. Like, we've all sat in our closet and cried. Every one of us, or a car, or somewhere, right? Like,
or screaming into the pillow.
Screaming. I told Dave one day, I think it was like last month, I'm like, I was so irate with this day. Like, I literally started screaming while I was driving in my car like a crazy person. And I'm like, well, some days are like that, Some days are like that.
And it's fine, but having a plan, having a goal, having an accountability base is going to help you get back on track when you fall off. Because I know you've got a lot of people on your side. Yep. I've got a lot of people on my side. And like I said, if you don't have anybody, give us a shout. We're happy. We are so happy to be those people for you because, like I said, we full-heartedly believe that everybody deserves success and goodness and happiness. So take that with you this week. Share this episode on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the other ones. Those are the only two I pay attention to.
Pick one of these three and go to work. Time management, discipline, or consistency. Which one are you going to work on for the next, let's just say 7 days?
Yeah, 7 days. Give it 7 days.
7 days. 7 days to success. I like that. We'll have to use that.
Oh my goodness. That's the next book.
All right, guys. Thank you.
We thank you so much for joining us today on the Elite Live with Trish and Kylie. Be sure to share the episode with a friend so we can continue bringing you more great tips on grit, grace, and real estate. You can also connect with us on Instagram, Facebook. We hope the ideas we share continue to help you build an empire and leave a legacy.